Hey, Bears fans! Today we're breaking down all the latest developments around our Chicago Bears as we edge closer to the big Saturday rematch at Soldier Field against the Packers. The buzz right now is all about whether the team might sign a pass rusher that had previously been on their radar. There's a lot of chatter about Matt Judon, who recently hit waivers, and what that could mean for the Bears' defensive front. Judon's situation is tricky because, looking at the numbers and performance metrics from this season, there's a lot to unpack before deciding if he's worth a roster spot. The raw stats are concerning. 0 sacks this year and only 1 tackle for loss. He hasn't been getting a lot of snaps, but even when he is on the field, the advanced metrics tell a deeper story. He ranks near the bottom in overall grading, is second to last in pass rush effectiveness, and falls into the bottom 25 percentile as a run defender. His win rate on pass rush attempts is under 7%, which doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Last year with Atlanta, he managed 5.5 sacks and showed some flashes, but even then, the pressure metrics weren't remarkable. He cleaned up some plays, but he was far from dominant. For a team looking for an immediate impact to strengthen the pass rush, it's hard to see Judon as a solution. Bringing him in would mean clearing a roster spot, and while technically there's an opening, it's widely expected that any addition to that slot will be Tremaine Edmunds rather than a veteran pass rusher who may not contribute significantly. The Bears do have depth in their defensive line already, with players like Montez Sweat and Austin Booker showing promise. Booker made an impression against Cleveland, even though he was facing backup offensive linemen. And Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has also been performing well, generating pressure and holding up against the run despite not recording sacks. Dominique Robinson, while limited this season, has been more productive than Judon in his snaps and demonstrates the value of young, developing talent. Judon might still be brought in for practice squad purposes, elevated for a game if needed, but realistically, he won't play on Saturday against Green Bay. He's nearing the end of his career, and while he has experience, his production over the past seasons simply doesn't make him the immediate answer for a pass rush that needs impact players. The team could still explore options if he clears waivers, but it would be more of a developmental or depth play than a game-changing move. Moving to injuries, there's a lot happening on both sides as we get closer to this key divisional matchup. Christian Watson for the Packers practiced in a limited capacity today, returning after a shoulder and chest issue that had him hospitalized over the weekend. Seeing him run routes fluidly in practice is a promising sign, and it looks like he's on track to suit up Saturday night. Watson has been a major weapon for Green Bay since his return from injury, emerging as the primary target for Jordan Love, and his presence stretches the field and opens up opportunities for the rest of the offense. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur emphasized that Watson is fighting to play, and all indications suggest he'll be a part of the lineup, which is a huge factor the Bears' defense will have to account for at every level. Other Packers players had varied statuses in practice. Jaden Reed missed practice due to personal reasons, but that seems minor. Josh Jacobs has been dealing with a knee and ankle concern, but expressed willingness to play hurt rather than sit out. Zach Tom and Evan Williams likely won't play, while Josh Wine remains in the concussion protocol. Dantavian Wickses and Savon Williams were limited, trending positively, and Chris Brooks dealt with chest issues but participated in a limited way. Lucas Vanis, who is stepping up with Micah Parsons out, also needs to be watched for Saturday's game. Overall, the Packers' injury situation is improving, but there are still questions about who will be at full strength on game day. Shifting back to the Bears, the receiving core has been impacted by injuries as well. Rome Odunze continues to manage a stress fracture in his foot and has been held out of practice, making his availability for Saturday highly unlikely. Luther Burden is dealing with an ankle injury, but there's a chance he could participate in a limited capacity and potentially play, depending on how he responds to treatment. The Bears' top receivers, DJ Moore and Zaccheaus, will likely see heavy usage with 12 and 13 personnel groupings to compensate for these absences. Ian Agbog-Miga missed practice again with a hamstring issue, which could impact special teams, while Tremaine Edmunds was limited in practice. If Edmunds can fully participate tomorrow, he could return for Saturday, contributing alongside TJ Edwards to provide a significant boost for the defense. The running back situation also deserves attention. DeAndre Swift appeared as limited on the injury report today with a groin issue, which is concerning given he has been approaching a 1,000-yard season and is the lead runner alongside Kyle Monangai. Roschon Johnson remains on injured reserve, so if Swift can't play, the Bears may lean on Monangai and Travis Homer, who returned as a full participant in practice, while Britton Brown could be elevated if needed. Managing these players' workloads and health will be key, especially in a short week before a high-stakes divisional game. The offensive line and backfield rotations will need careful attention depending on how Swift responds to treatment and how the team decides to deploy Homer and Monangai in game scenarios. Other Bears players like Cole Kmet, dealing with ankle and knee concerns, are being managed but expected to play. Tyson Bent, who missed the last game due to illness, returned as a full participant, and Andrew Billings also bounced back after being sick, ensuring that the defensive depth remains solid despite the physical toll of the season. As we look toward the matchup, the Bears have to navigate these challenges thoughtfully. Injuries, potential roster moves, and the performance of young players stepping into larger roles will all factor into how this team competes on Saturday night. The defensive line, pass rush, and secondary coverage will be under scrutiny as the Bears aim to limit explosive plays from the Packers. With Watson back, the Bears' pass coverage will be tested at multiple levels, and the offensive game plan must account for the reduced availability of top receivers. Balancing risk and reward with players returning from injury, managing pitch counts, and optimizing personnel matchups will be crucial for both sides. The Bears' coaching staff has to consider not only immediate performance, but also longer-term health and development of players like Burden, Edmonds, and Monangai as they navigate the final stretch of the regular season. Even small adjustments in the lineup or strategic deployment of pass rushers could have outsized impacts in a game that has divisional playoff implications. The interplay of injuries, player readiness, and matchup-specific strategies sets the stage for an exciting, tense, and highly tactical contest under the lights at Soldier Field. Continuing with the Bears' preparation for Saturday night, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to defensive matchups and how the team can maximize its chances against a Packers offense that has been dangerous, especially with Christian Watson back on the field. Watson's return changes the dynamics significantly, as his speed and route-running ability force defenders to stay disciplined and cover the entire field. The Bears' secondary will need to communicate perfectly to prevent blown assignments, as one missed coverage could result in a big gain. Even with Watson practicing in a limited capacity, the potential for explosive plays is high, which means the linebackers and safeties must be ready to step up, particularly with some of their key contributors coming off injuries or limited practices. TJ Edwards paired with Tremaine Edmonds, if both are at full strength, will be critical in the middle of the field, helping to plug gaps against the run while also dropping into coverage when necessary. Edmonds' return is especially impactful because he brings experience, toughness, and leadership that can stabilize the linebacker group, giving the Bears a more balanced defensive front that can adjust to the Packers' mix of inside and outside runs, as well as play-action passes. On the offensive side, the Bears are facing their own set of challenges with injuries in the receiving corps. With Rome Odunze unlikely to play and Luther Burden still questionable, the offense will rely heavily on DJ Moore and Zaccheaus. This means quarterback Justin Fields will have to make quick reads and rely on timing, precision, and creativity to stretch the defense without risking turnovers. Fields' mobility is another factor that could help counteract Green Bay's defensive schemes, giving him the ability to escape pressure and extend plays when the pass rush closes in. The Bears' offensive line will also play a pivotal role, especially with the running game in flux due to DeAndre Swift's limited participation. Kyle Monangai and Travis Homer may see increased carries, and the coaching staff will need to carefully balance snap counts to avoid overtaxing any single player while maintaining efficiency. If Swift is able to play, even at partial capacity, it opens up more options in the playbook, keeping the Packers guessing and forcing them to account for multiple threats on every down. The interplay between Swift and Monangai, especially in tandem with Fields' playmaking ability, will be key to sustaining drives and controlling the tempo of the game, which is particularly crucial against a Packers team that thrives on explosive plays and momentum swings. Special teams may also become a decisive factor, given the injuries to players like Ian Agbogmiga. While not always in the spotlight, special teams contributions can swing field position and influence momentum, which in a tight divisional game is essential. Kickoff coverage, punt returns, and field goal situations will require precise execution, and any misstep could give the Packers an advantage. The Bears will need players stepping into these roles seamlessly, ensuring that both units remain competitive despite personnel changes. Additionally, managing player health through limited snaps, strategic substitutions, and situational usage will be critical. Coaches have to weigh the risk of aggravating injuries against the necessity of fielding their best talent in a game with playoff implications. This balancing act is always complex, but it becomes even more pressing in short weeks where recovery time is limited and decisions must be made quickly. Turning back to the defensive line, even without Matt Judon, the Bears have been able to generate pressure with Montez Sweat and Austin Booker, who have shown the ability to disrupt plays and create challenges for opposing quarterbacks. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has contributed with pressure and solid run defense, showing that the Bears can still rely on younger, hungry players to step up. While Judon might offer experience, his recent lack of productivity makes it hard to justify displacing a developing player who has been performing well. The decision to rely on depth rather than chase a veteran with declining performance demonstrates a commitment to building cohesion and trusting the players who are already acclimated to the system. This approach could pay dividends, especially if Sweat, Booker, and Tryon-Shoyinka continue to improve and find ways to exploit weaknesses in Green Bay's offensive line. Pass rush timing, stunts, and gap control will be critical, particularly when facing a quarterback like Jordan Love, who has shown the ability to make quick decisions and capitalize on even small mistakes. Meanwhile, the Packers' offensive line and skill players are also dealing with their own set of challenges, as injuries have limited some of their top performers in practice. Players like Josh Jacobs and Lucas Vanis will need to execute despite dealing with minor injuries, while the absence or limitation of others could force adjustments in their game plan. Christian Watson's impact, however, cannot be understated. His presence opens up passing lanes, forces the Bears' secondary to stretch, and creates opportunities for other Packers receivers and running backs to find space. Covering him effectively will require discipline, anticipation, and flawless technique from the Bears' cornerbacks and safeties, and any lapse could result in a big play that shifts momentum immediately. This game has the potential to swing on a handful of key moments, whether it's a turnover, a critical third down stop, or a well-executed special teams play. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing after an unexpected reaction from Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes regarding the Chicago Bears, leaving fans and analysts scrambling for interpretations. Known for his calm and collected demeanor on and off the field, Mahomes rarely makes headlines for offhand remarks about opposing teams. However, recent comments he made during what was described as a lighthearted media session have sparked speculation that something bigger might be brewing behind the scenes. Sources close to the Chiefs organization hint that Mahomes' words were not just casual banter. While he didn't directly mention strategy or upcoming matchups, his tone carried a mix of curiosity and challenge, suggesting he may be anticipating a highly competitive showdown with the Bears. Teammates reportedly found his statements intriguing, with some players joking that Mahomes might have inadvertently set the stage for one of the season's most intense rivalries. The Bears, on the other hand, have yet to officially respond to Mahomes' remarks, but insiders suggest that locker room discussions in Chicago have not ignored them. Analysts are already speculating. Is Mahomes sending a subtle message about his confidence in Kansas City's offense, or is he testing the Bears' mental toughness ahead of a crucial meeting on the field? The ambiguity has fueled social media frenzy, with fans dissecting every word, gesture, and tone for hidden meaning. Beyond the immediate hype, some believe Mahomes' reaction could signal a deeper narrative. Could this be a hint at potential trades, roster moves, or an evolving strategy aimed specifically at countering the Bears' defense? While nothing has been confirmed, insiders warn that Mahomes has always had a knack for sending cryptic signals that keep opponents guessing, and that unpredictability has often worked in his favor. For now, the football world watches with bated breath. Mahomes' surprising reaction to the Bears may be more than a headline. It could be the opening act of a story that shapes the NFL landscape in unexpected ways. One thing is certain. Whether this is playful trash talk or a calculated psychological tactic, Patrick Mahomes has once again proven that every word he speaks carries weight, and no comment should be taken lightly. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.